जावेदानी.
We were given life. We come from the stars, they say. So before we were born, we had a little meeting up there with the grandmothers and the grandfathers and Creator. We had a little meeting with him, and he said to you, look down on that earth lodge. I want you to pick your parents, your mom and dad. Go down and look down there, because you're going to go down there soon. They were saying to those grandmothers and grandfathers, our ancestors. And he said, pick them, pick who they are, because you're going to go down there soon. I'm going to tell you that you're going to have gifts, many gifts that you're going to go down to that earth with. You're going to have a purpose, and you're going to have identity when you go down there. But I'm also going to tell you that there's going to be good times. There's going to be bad times. There's going to be trauma coming into your life. So as we sat up there, we got to choose our parents, and we got to come down here. You know, and as we come, our mothers carry us. We come down to this earth for a short time. You know, and we come down here to experience life. You see, our ceremonies are all about life. Every single one of our ceremonies, from the sun dance, the warrior dance, the sweat lodge, the shake tent. You know, we're all going there for life. Madewin, it's all life. You know, my teachers are Neil Boulette and Lynn Kershane and Derek Kershane. But my Madewin teachers are Dan Thomas and Wally Swan, and there's a bunch of them over there. But as I was up there, you know, looking down and choosing my parents, you know, my mother, you know, had carried me for 9 months. She sat there and she cried, you know, she laughed. I got to feel her with me, right? I got to hear her heartbeat. You know, so like when I was up there, Creator told me, you know, go down there and seek that good life. Go down there and break cycles, he told me. You know, so he's talking about intergenerational trauma. Well, that intergenerational trauma met Tim Barron Jr. And I'm putting that to a stop for my kids and the ones moving forward. I never grew up with this way of life. I lived a really rough life. I've made lots of mistakes in life. And I've repaired a lot of those mistakes. In and out of jail, involved in the streets, gangs, drugs, alcohol, behaviors passed down to me. Like he was talking about residential school. So my grandparents were taught to hide things, to keep secrets. You know, as little kids, they found alcohol and they started to drink. A lot of those ones, you know, did ceremony without those. They had to go in the bush to do it themselves at a very young age. A lot of those ones, but you had to sort of know people in residential school in order to belong to that, because they didn't want it to get out there. You know, and a lot of harm happened to those kids too, so they grew up with that harm, and how they really like to cope with those is to use drugs and alcohol. To use alcohol, really, for my grandparents, they can't still speak about what happened to them. You know, and that's very sad, to suppress things, to suppress feelings. You know, because I did that for all my life. Most of my life, until I was 35, when I finally smartened up and, you know, I'm connected to culture. I was told to not to cry growing up. I was called all these names from my parents, and they were called those names by their parents, and it was just passed down. You know, for our kids, Like for my kids today, like I don't use the word like bad, and I always say good things to my daughters, because if they hear it so much, they're gonna believe that, and they don't. My daughter doesn't deserve to hear that. So before my daughter was born, we sang to her. I sang for her with my drum. I prayed for her, and I still do that today. We told her about the life that she's coming into, this world that she's coming into. We told her about the culture. She never touched the ground for a year. And the reason why we did that is because when she was inside her mom's womb, and so she has a better understanding of the world that she's coming into, because it's a very dark world. But there is lots of light out there too if you allow yourself to be that light for someone. And I have to be that light for my daughter. I have to be that smile for my daughter. You know, I have to be that protector, that fire keeper for my daughter. And a fire keeper, and what I'm saying about that fire keeper is bring that kindness and that warmth and that love for her, not to scare her. Because she doesn't need that life that I experienced. She deserves that good life. That's why I continue to do the work on myself each and every single day, and pray and thank for life today, that new life today, that new power, that new knowledge, those new lessons, good and bad. Thank you for that sun that's coming up and always bringing that light for the moon. See, each and every single one of it, like everything out there has a purpose. Part of my purpose today is just to share a little bit of what I know. There's so many different creation stories that I know. I just shared that one. It's just keeping it simple for you today. Of the one when the meeting that we had with Creator and our ancestors when we're sitting up here before we come to this lodge. You see, when you go outside and you look out there, that's what you see. When we're right here in the middle, you actually see a circle. When you look around, you're right in the middle of that circle. It's pretty common sense, eh? You know, and it's about balancing, having that balance. You know, it's life and death today. Life is very precious, right? Health and sickness, day and night, man and woman. I go into the lodge to reset my thinking, you know, to replenish my body, you know, to sit with my grandparents, the ones that are not here with me anymore, to sit with my ancestors and watch time, and to sing and to pray with those ones. And I teach those ones that come in there with me about that their spirits are coming in here to reconnect us and to connect to our own spirit, to make ourselves stronger. You see, the drugs and alcohol were never meant for our people. It's just a way for us to really go down and to really just disconnect from our own spirit. We're all pure. Anishinaabe means a being lowered down, or a man lowered down from Creator's hand. You see, long ago in our creation stories, again, Creator took earth from the four directions, and from the east direction is Wabanum, Jawanum, Nigabanum, Giwatanum, east, south, west, and north. And he took earth. And on that north direction, he blew the breath of life into his palm, and he said Anishinaabe. And that's when that first being was born. And as he lowered his hand down from the stars, that being didn't want to leave. He was afraid to leave, or he was shy to leave. And Creator was asking him to look up at the sky. And if you see that little dipper, that's where that bear sits. There's 7 stars that belongs to that. No, it's the Big Dipper, I believe. Yeah, it's the Big Dipper. There's 7 stars there. But he asked them to go look up, and he says, look at those seven grandfathers up there. they're looking down and they want you to go and to live this life. It's a short life, but it will be a good one. And he's like, I can't see that seventh grandfather. I only see six. He was saying to Creator. And he's like, he's there. And he looked again, and he's seen that one hiding behind that sixth grandfather up there. And that's that shy one. And you see, like, our people, it's not just our people, it's a lot of people, every different culture. Doesn't matter what the culture is. You can be shy from this big right to that big. You know? And the teaching here is Creator loved us. And he said, I want you to leave and go walk in that east direction towards new life. And that's where that sun comes up every day and brings new life. So he walked, and on his fourth, he looked back 4 times, and on his 4th time, that being remembered that Creator loved him. And that's the most important thing. You know, that our Creator loves each and every single one of us. It doesn't matter if it's Creator, Jesus, Buddha, you know, and whatever. It's all the same. We're all seeking the same good life. We're trying to seek life, right? But our people out there don't know that. They've done such a job on Indigenous people. You know, they just took so much from our people and just disconnected us, man. You know, and that's why there's so many people all across Turtle Island that are in jail, that are addicted to substances, that don't even know their language, that haven't even ate traditional food like moose meat and muskrat. My grandpa loved muskrat, you know, like don't even know about medicines. You know, that we're eating like I love chips, but it's processed food. You know, we're eating chips, you know, and sandwich meat's processed, but it's so good, you know. We're drinking Pepsi, you know, like all this stuff, and for me, it what I was taught, it's taking days from my life. Even the water out there, you know, these knowledge keepers have told me that water keeps shrinking, and we keep getting less and less and less water. And why? It's because of these ones out there that want money. And all they do is talk. Eventually, we're not going to have any water. But that's not going to be in my lifetime. That might be on my great-grandchildren's lifetime. That might even be on my daughter's time right now. Like my daughter, that's just a baby. And I don't want that. You know, it's very sad, you know, the life that we live in and what's happened to our people. I tell that to my daughter. You know, I asked her, I said to her in the car, I said to my baby, I was singing this Anishinaabe song. It's about the Creator's love and how we're shy people. I was singing to her, and I was telling her, I was like, my girl, I was like, alcohol and drugs are not for our people. I'm 7 years sober. I used to be an IV drug addict. I was homeless, living downtown. I just lived on the streets, lived in stairwells. You know, in and out of jail all my life since I was 15. My father and my parents threw me out of the house. You know, I wasn't heard growing up. I was name called all my life by my parents. I was physically abused. I wasn't sexually abused. I was obviously disconnected from this way of life and knowing culture. Didn't know anything about a higher power. Nothing. Didn't know that it was okay to cry. You know, didn't know anything about the language. Didn't know songs. You know, I didn't even really know right and wrong. That's not like that today, because of culture and how much I've like continued to seek this way of life. I've forgiven my parents because of this way of life. Because it's not their fault. It wasn't their fault. And life is too short to hold on to a resentment or hurt, right? And that's because of culture. Because I know Creator loves me and He loves my parents too and my grandparents. And I just want to be loved today.